Hello, YouTube. Welcome to my channel, Marriage, Politics, and Sports. Once again, I bring you another episode of Candace Unleashed. And I just put a little snippet of what she's talking about because I agree with her. I think that we're under spell as a country based on the puppet masters trying to get us and the commercial enterprises and the war machine and everybody else trying to get us to fight amongst ourselves on the little things so they can control the population. And anybody who doesn't believe that, you don't read enough books. But the point is, before we get started, I'm going to let you listen to her. And she's going to talk about what she thinks is the black magic cabal that's above us all. And you need to go to her channel and listen to the full video that she has. I'm going to put it in the description. But I'm going to just take a little snippet of what she says because I agree with her. Now, you call it black magic. I call it social engineering. But it's all demonic. But you can call it what you will. But we are being manipulated. And anybody who really wants to understand about manipulation in terms of a global sense or a mass sense, read the Foundation Trilogy from Isaac Asimov in its original form. You could get an understanding about how certain stimuli will move masses so you can get the kind of desired outcomes that you want. So just read that book. First of all, it's great science fiction. It's three. The first three books, if you get engulfed in the rest of the books, that's your thing. But the first three books are gold. They're absolute gold. And I'll just put some in the description to talk about social engineering. And I'll put just remind you about getting that trilogy to read. Anyway, the other thing is Amber Rose talks about that she's no longer brainwashed. Whatever you think about her, she's not a dumb woman. You can think about everything else. Her social life and all the other stuff, she does what women do, black women do. But other than that, she is not a dumb woman. So here's her conversion, and she talks a little bit about that in this stuff too. So I'm gonna play that little clip as well. Like, share, and subscribe to my channel. It's grown a little bit. You know, I'm not sitting down here thinking I'm gonna be some super YouTuber and all that. I'm a retired guy. I have fun putting my thoughts out on YouTube, and I like to share them with you. And so I see great people, great content creators and stuff like that have some really, really good stuff. And so it's one of the things I like to do while I'm in retirement, besides losing weight, stacking dollars, those kind of things. This is one of my peace times and pastimes. A brother, Black Man Unfiltered, he actually lets me speak on his channel on Mondays at 7, so I have fun doing that as well. So listen, before we go any further, like, share, and subscribe to my channel. So leave a comment on what you think about Candace Owens' return. Go to my community tab and take that poll that I put out there because I have a variety of things on my channel: marriage, politics, sports. And tell me what you think about that kind of variety because I know people like to focus. I do have a sports show on Wednesdays at 7 o'clock. And I invite you to listen in on that. I have a few fellows that come up every so often. And whether I have to go solo or not doesn't matter. I just go ahead and put that sports out there because a lot of us like sports. So join me at 7 o'clock Wednesdays, Eastern Standard Time. But getting back to this point, I'm going to share with you what Candace Owens says about what she thinks is controlling the masses of Americans. And, I'm with her on this, and there's no argument. So stay tuned. Let's go ahead and go over there and see what she's talking about.
Here is my conclusion after having read that book and just paying attention to what is happening, and my very, very real belief that Hollywood is completely being used as a form of psychological entrapment, as a form of mass psychological brainwashing. I believe the media is a form of black magic, that people actually sat down, experts, and they experimented to see how people would react to certain things. right? That they can create a celebrity virtually overnight, make people want to be like that celebrity, that they can induce people to love someone instantly or to hate somebody instantly.
Think about what Disney is doing to Star Wars and to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, pushing woke ideology and all the kind of things that the vast majority of Americans and their fan base can't stand. And then blaming it on the fan base and calling the fan base all kinds of crazy names. This is just one example of what Candace is over. There's a cabal pushing a certain kind of lifestyle that they want us to accept. And most people don't want to accept that. They don't. They're just like the Olympic Committee banned Leah Thomas from swimming with the rest of the girls. There's a backlash of people who believe in Christ and God and morality and the fact that there's men and there's women at birth, and that's what you are. And if you have an issue with that, that's fine, but take care of it when you're an adult. Can't force it on people's children. So she goes through a global concept of what's going wrong out there. And you know what? There's just a small piece of the iceberg. The government's behind it. The commercial backers are behind it. And they don't care if they lose money in the short run as long as they could try to control the minds, hearts, and bodies of the American citizens. So go ahead, Candace, finish this off.
I'm someone that they induce people to hate immediately before they ever even heard what I had to say. They understand that headlines work. So if you say something enough times, people will believe it to be true. If you ask the majority of people right now about Michael Jackson in America, they probably still believe that he's a pedophile, even though he beat all the charges. And if you watch some documentaries, you will begin to ask yourself some serious questions about why they began attacking Michael Jackson at the moment that he was fighting to take down Sony, and why the people that he was fighting suddenly inherited his entire estate. So a lot of questions we should be asking ourselves. Have we all fallen victim to black magic? Absolutely. I've long suspected and have said publicly that the music that I'm hearing today that is being described as black culture, black music, it's not black music. I grew up listening to my granddad's music. This is not what the Temptations were singing about. In the 60s, they were singing about love and families being together. Now, all of a sudden, the music is so dark, it is so demonic that it has led me to believe that Hollywood is, in fact, being controlled by some sort of a demonic cult with an intention to corrupt our souls. And in particular, they're...
Let me just stop right there. You can believe it or not, but once you start to see it, you can't unsee it. And so they're trying hard to make sure you don't see it. They put blockers up like fear and racism and things that you've already survived over, and you can't see it. So, but once you do see it, you can't unsee it. And the goal for the puppet masters is to make sure you never see it. So now your mind stays locked. If you're black as some kind of victim, everybody's after you. You'll never be able to get ahead. And a white man this and a white man that. It's just, it's just all horseshit. It really is. That's not to say that there's no racism and all that kind of stuff, but most people, if you ask them to give you an example of how racism stopped them from doing what they wanted to do, they can't give you. They can't give you. Just like if you ask a person who thinks they're a racist or who are a racist, when was the last time somebody of a minority group did anything for you to be so mad? They can't give you an example. They just heard somebody else's story. You know what I'm saying? I mean, most of us live our lives and achieve the things we achieve for the efforts we put in. Nothing more and nothing less. And, if it was just that simple based on meritocracy, we wouldn't be talking about DEI and all that horse shit. You know what I'm saying? That's where meritocracy goes to die. But anyway, I got another clip by Candace, and she talks about our girl Amber Rose a little bit. And you want to check out a little bit of what Amber says, and then I'm going to go back and we'll conclude this. So bear with me. Let me move it a little bit to that timeline. And here we go.
I just love the silence. They don't even know how to respond to it. They're like, what in the uppity Christian is this? They've never heard it. They've never heard somebody throw that at them in a press conference, probably ever. We love to see it. And not only that, Amber Rose, who I have had a lot of things to say about in the past, she was one of the people that heavily marketed the quote unquote slut walk many years ago. I think it was back in 2018. Well, she's coming around the bend too. She's mixed race, to be clear, and she's come out and endorsed Donald Trump. And of course, the demonic media has hunted her down, followed her, and said, "How could you? How could you do that, Amber Rose? You are a woman." Here's what Amber Rose has to say.
A lot of people were shocked with your, endorsement of Donald Trump. I mean, you're all about women's rights issues. I mean, what was the reason for the big change?
Is Donald Trump not for women's rights issues?
I mean, I guess a lot of people were
He's
asking.
trying to make America great again. That's for women too, right?
That's true.
Okay, there you go.
A lot of celebrities are kind of like voting for Trump now. I mean, why do you think people are kind of like changing their way of like?
I think we just did our research and we're just, we're not brainwashed anymore by the left. I can say that about myself. All these years I've been brainwashed and I'm not anymore.
Do you think Donald Trump would approve of the slut walk?
That's no longer. I haven't did the slut walk since 2018. So I think that I could do something better for women than a slut walk.
Okay.
Although I was very passionate about the slut walk,
I loved it.
Donated hundreds of thousands of dollars to helping women get counseling for domestic violence and sexual assault and rape, and I'm still that person. I just don't think I need a slut walk for that.
Whoop, whoop. I am loving this. And you can see the little bit of media black magic where she says something that makes perfect sense. I'm no longer brainwashed, particularly brainwashed. Again, when you read that book, Chaos, you're going to understand the obsession that the government had with being able to brainwash the masses. So when they hear her say she's no longer brainwashed.
I'll stop it there. I'm going to put the link to this full video in the description, and I suggest you go see it because, again, these are just small examples of people coming over. Now, I feel like I'm somewhat of a pioneer because I've been on these airways saying that Black people en masse, especially Black men, need to divest from the Democratic Party because of the stronghold, the spell that they got Black people under. Now, it's good to start seeing Black women starting to see it, but I say we don't need Black women for us to do what we need to do as men. If we can get the percentage of men down to 40% or less for the Democrats, and we help, I hate to say, because I'm not a Republican either. I don't like them, but I don't care. We need to break the hold, I'm going to use the word, the demonic stronghold that the Democrats have on Black people. And if we can do anything for them to lose every swing state this election in November, we need to do it. We need to do it. We need to break the backs of the Democratic Party so we can go ahead and move forward as free people and free thinkers without the victimization, without the goddamn bullshit programs that they have, without the anything goes liberalism, without the anti-Catholic, anti-Christian, anti-everything, so they can control the minds and the hearts and the souls of people. We need to break away, and we don't have to give that to the Republicans. I don't care. We need to be maybe the spearhead of a third party movement of all people, not just Black, not just minorities, just about people who want to be free thinkers and want the government to actually begin to work for us again. But having said all that, this is it. We don't need to go too much further. I appreciate that Candace Owens is back again. And listen, with that, all I have to do is say hard pain, marriage, politics, and sports. Over and out.